Hello everyone. Before I start, I want to clarify the old versions of Apolo are obsolete. So this version needs to be reinstalled from zero. But there is an explanation for this. As many of you know, Apolo required to replace the crystal figures, which didn't affect the roster of characters. However, the inclusion of Doctor Strange and Spider-Gwen required the same, so we thought of using the ID of Dory and Nemo. Besides, these characters do not work on PC. But there is a problem with these two characters. What happens if someone is able to repair them? This would create a problem for Apolo, since they would have to choose between keeping the console roster, or eliminating these two figures which are not finished. Well, that's a problem of the past. It won't be necessary to replace any character anymore, since JiroTheOne and Eidan Yoson discovered a way to add more ID to the game. For those who are not informed, the only way to add characters independently is to add them in a file called Gateway. The problem is, we can't edit it, and even in this version, it's still not possible. However, it was possible to create new ID for the missing figures, and even figures that never existed. I only programmed the ID to work with the new characters, and believe me, they are not few. One more thing, many of these new characters are not finished yet, and may even cause the game crash. The list of characters will be in the description. Well, let's start with the tutorial. But, I will only show the steps to follow. What I mean by this, I won't show how to use the zips decompression program. To find out how it works, go to the link in the description. That said, let's get started. Open the decompression program, and after performing the necessary processes, look for the textures folder in the game folder. Select everything and then proceed to unzip it in the origin folder. Once this is done, we only have to wait. I recommend you to watch a video, because this can take several minutes.
5 minutes later.
When the process finishes, go to the textures folder in Asset. Once you enter, you will notice several folders have been created. Well, now you have two options. You can rename the zips files, or you can delete them. In my case, I do the second one. Before I forget, this process of deleting or renaming the zip files must always be done in order for the game read the unzipped files. Let's continue. Let's go to the search bar and look for this format. T-body. Select everything and move it to the textures folder.
One hour later.
We are done here. In UI we have to unzip two folders icons, and virtual reader characters. First, icons. Unzip the file in the folder where it is located.
3 hours later.
Move all the data from the unzipped folder to the original folder. Here I forgot to delete the zip file. Remember, you have to delete or rename it. As you can see, a textures folder was generated. Now move it to Assets. Repeat the same steps in virtual reader characters. Since they are similar, we repeat the same process. And at the end let's put the textures folder in assets. With this everything related to textures is finished. Next let's go to Assets and unzip Startup and Startup 2. Then go to each folder and move the files to Assets. Go to Presentation and unzip the zip file. Move all the files to the original folder. Move the Flash folder to Assets. We go to Assets, and delete the GameDB folder. Go to Asset and delete the Characters folder. With that we finish everything necessary to install the mod. To finish, move all the files that includes the Apolo mod to the asset folder of the game. And replace the data. If you did everything correctly, you will be able to use all the Apolo content. The next updates will use this base version, and each update will focus on repairing one character at a time. And I guess some of you may be wondering, what is this Ava_test? Maybe in the next video I can explain everything, however it is related to character creation. Well, that's all for today. Enjoy the new content.